We live in a pretty confused culture, and I think as a result of that, I get some very interesting questions from time to time. A lot of questions recently along the lines of, well, what if I decide the best version of myself is this? Or what if I think the best version of myself is that? And usually some pretty crazy things. The reality is we don't decide. I don't decide, the best version of myself is this, or the best version of myself is that. God decides. God created us, and He placed within you the seed of the best version of yourself. And it's not something that's being manufactured along the way. It's being drawn out of you. The Latin verb educare is the word for education, and it means to draw out. And so the very best teachers, the very best mentors, the very best coaches, the very best leaders, what do? They draw out the best version of ourselves. They draw it out of us. They don't put it into us. They don't impose it upon us. They draw it out. They draw it out with questions. They draw it out with examples. They draw it out with stories. They draw it out of us. And so that very best version of yourself is in there. All God's trying to do is to animate it, is to bring it to life, is to draw it out of you. We don't get to decide what it is. God has already decided from the beginning of time. But we do get to celebrate it. We do get to enjoy it. We do get to collaborate with Him and allow Him to draw that best version of ourselves out. People will say to me, I don't know what God wants me to do. He wants you to become the best version of yourself. If you've got a choice between two things, and one thing will help you become the best version of yourself, and one thing won't help you become the best version of yourself, what God wants you to do is really easy. But other than that, virtue is a great path, because you can't become more patient and not become a better version of yourself. You can't become more honest and not become a better version of yourself. You can't become more courageous, more persevering. Pick any virtue you like. You can't grow in virtue and not take one step closer to God and one step closer to a better version of yourself. And so there's a direct connection between virtue and the best version of ourselves. Because the best version of ourselves is constantly celebrating virtue, and the best version of ourselves is constantly creating holy moments.